Hi, it's Sean. This is Connor Beard's full interview on Morally Sound. You can also listen to this episode on the Morally Sound playlist on YouTube. If you'd like to hear more, stay updated with the Pingry Honor Board Facebook page. Enjoy! Alright, could you just start with your name, what year you're graduating, and anything else you'd like to know?
I'm Connor. I am currently a senior and I am graduating this year.
Great. So when did you come to Pingry?
I came to Pingry freshman year.
Freshman year. And then where did you go to school before that?
Before that, I went to Gill St. Bernard's for 2 years.
Okay. And I also believe you went to Central Elementary School?
I went to Central Elementary School. I went to Warren Middle School for a year as well. So.
You know, I always wondered how I just never met you my 6th grade year.
Wait, did you? Oh, wait, what school did you go to?
I went to Warren Middle School as well, all 3 years.
Ooh, okay. I don't know.
Happens. So what has it been like to watch Pingry change over the years, both in your opinion and watching the school change? It can be anything.
I think the school has, I think it's been really cool watching the school change into, I think it was already like a very open and inclusive environment, and I've really only seen that grow. I feel like over my last few years, like with the addition of like affinity groups and that sort of thing, I feel like that's something that's been really cool that the school has done to like change and grow, I guess. And I think it's just grown in a way and like kind of like change into a school that's become just overall more collaborative, more like teachers seeing students as like actual adults as opposed to seeing them as just like little kids and stuff like that. I think that's really cool that the school, I think, is moving in that direction.
How do you think yourself has grown over these past couple of years, coming as a small freshman to now the seniors on top?
I think I've definitely, first off, matured, but I also feel like I've grown more comfortable in my own skin. Mm-hmm. I think especially freshman year, I felt like I needed to be something I wasn't, and if I wasn't that, then no one would like me and stuff. Now I'm at a point where I'm like freshman year, I would try to be like energetic all the time and upbeat, and now I'm kind of like, I'm just here. I'm Connor. Sometimes I'm upbeat, sometimes I'm just kind of like low key, but like it's all like it's just who I am, and I think like I've come to accept that, and I feel like a lot of people have come to accept that, so I'm happy about that, I guess.
Were there any specific moments that helped you kind of become more comfortable in your skin, or where you found yourself, this is Connor, and this is you?
I mean, I think being in a part of the theater community on campus has helped a lot. I think that was the first space where I truly felt comfortable being myself, because I think that's such a space where everyone is so unique and just doing their own thing, and that was like the first time I met people where I just kind of felt once again comfortable being myself and being who I am. And I think that change where I really felt comfortable happened, I think, by the end of my first show here at Susical. Like that was when I first started to feel like, okay, I have a group of friends and I feel like completely comfortable just talking about stuff, and that was like an incredible feeling.
How do you think the honor code played into it, if at all?
Well, I first off think that the honor code, I think it's incredible coming from a different high school, different middle school, and like other schools as well. I think the honor code does play a major factor into the environment at Pingry. Like, I won't say what school or anything, but like there have been times in the past at other schools where like a teacher would leave a room and like a bunch of kids would start like talking about like what the answers are and stuff like on a test. And I found at Pingry, like I've like never really had that happen, and I think that's really incredible. I think there is this sort of sense of honor that a lot of kids feel like, okay, I can't cheat, whether that's for like being scared of getting in trouble or just like doing it out of honor. I feel like that is a big factor here. I feel like sometimes like the honor code and how it how its impact on the community is, I feel like sometimes I think sometimes it works because students feel that they feel like that if they don't follow it, they'll get in trouble, and that could be part of the reason why it works. But like it does work, and I feel like there is a much more of an inclusive environment here where everyone is comfortable with each other. Just like from seeing in the hallways, like people leaving their bags like wherever they want and stuff. Like you can't find that in the real world without like people like freaking out or something or being scared that you'll like get it stolen. And like here, it's like completely fine to do that sort of thing. So I think it's played into having like this really open environment where people aren't afraid of like losing their stuff as well. I think. Yeah.
And you see that open community a lot in the theater community, right?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
And in your mind, what has evoked what the honor code means to you? I know you've mentioned backpacks and teachers. Trusting their students.
I think it is like trust essentially at the end of the day. I feel like the honor code is like the school trusting that the students will like not cheat on this stuff, and it's we're constantly reminded of it with the honor code on every test we take and stuff. But honestly, there isn't a lot keeping that in place if the students don't follow it. But I think there is just this level of trust between the students and teachers where they both, where the students understand that they won't cheat and that isn't a thing that we do here. And yeah, and the teachers once again like trust their students to do that and not cheat at all. And I feel like that applies to also like social scenes where people aren't going to trust in each other. Like they're going to trust that everyone's going to have everyone is going to be like kind and friendly here and stuff. I guess it's like that sort of thing, I guess. So I think it is like a lot of trust, I guess.
Have there been personal moments where you think the honor code has been tested by this community or in your own moral compass?
I mean, like whenever you have like it's happened to me before where I've had like, I've had a quiz I didn't even study for and stuff, where you kind of have to be like, okay, I'm not going to cheat on this. I think it is testing to allow the community every day, and I think that the community almost always will choose to follow it. I think there have been times where it doesn't, where they don't follow it and stuff, where they feel that it's more important to get that grade or not like help someone, I guess. I feel like there are times like that, but I feel like that the majority of the community kind of pushes through that anyways and is still honorable, I guess.
Yeah. And so how does that move into, how do you find your balance between honor and excellence, as one of Pingry's mottos goes?
I think what I do is I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to do anything specifically for grades. I just want to learn, I guess. And what I do in regard to honor and excellence is like I think that there can't be any excellence without honor, I guess. I think first off the two go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. And I think the two go hand in hand, and that you can't have one without the other, and I try to be as excellent as I can be while still having honor, essentially. I think at the end of the day, I'm much more proud of who I am because of that, and because I'm not cheating to get ahead, and because I'm like taking that extra step, I guess. And I think I've said this a bit, like they both just play into each other, I guess. And I think in that way.
What have been some of your biggest takeaways with the honor code and the Pingry community? You've mentioned things like finding your community, finding yourself. What are some of the smaller things that you appreciate when coming to Pingry?
One thing I really appreciate just in general about Pingry is just, I've already kind of mentioned this, but like the relationship that teachers have with students is one thing. Like that is so incredible, and you can't find that at other schools. Like the teachers will like. I remember like the first day of school for me. This is probably like orientation or something. It may have been DBA who said this. I feel like, but I remember her mentioning that there was a student that from like the year before who like came home the first day and told his mom that like he was shocked because the teachers actually looked him in the eye. And I feel like that is something that's so incredible about our community, that teachers see us as equals. They see us as like people who are intellectually curious, and they want to help guide us on our intellectual journey. And I think that's really incredible about it. I think it's incredible, once again, the level of trust we have, just in general. I mean, like, once again, like backpacks and stuff like that. Like, we have no issue leaving stuff like that in the hallway. We don't, like, I mean, like, the majority of students are going to use like lockers and stuff. Like, it's so open. People just have this inherent trust to each other. And I think that's such an incredible thing about Pingry, that we can have that at this school, that we're not worried about other people undermining us, I guess. I think that's just such an incredible aspect of Pingry.
Do you find Pingry to be the most cutthroat place, or do you see it kind of downplayed in terms of competitiveness? I
think from the outside world, first off, I think like Pingry is seen as more competitive than it actually is. Or I think it's seen as like, honestly, a school, from what I've heard, like, if I'm just being blunt, like a school full of nerds, essentially. Like, that's what I've heard. Like, kids are like, no one has fun there, everyone's weird and stuff, but it's not like that. In my experience, at least, I think first off, there are definitely students who are competitive, like who learn for the sake of grades, which I think is like a really, I think that is something that's actually gonna probably like, I think that's something that's like really not going to help in the long run, but like, I think that there is that aspect where kids are trying to undermine each other, but I also think that, in my experience at least, it isn't so much a competitiveness against each other. It's just more, a lot of people are like stressing and trying to do the best they can, and it's like not genuinely just for themselves, not against other people. And like for me, in my experience, junior year, I remember just like, I felt like this huge blanket of sadness fell over our grade. Like, I felt like there was like, with the stress came this level of like kind of sadness, where everyone was kind of like sad, everyone was trying to work through it and stuff, and everyone was stressed out. And I think it's more stressful than competitive in that way, I guess. I think that, once again, I think it's just like, this school is very much an environment where like collaboration is really emphasized, and I think a lot of students use that as opposed to trying to like work on their own, or like some of these horror stories at colleges where you hear people like ripping pages out of books and stuff. Like, it's not like that. It's much better here than that sort of thing. I think once again, there is like some level of that, but I think it really is overplayed, especially in the perception Pingry has from the outside world.
Who are some of the teachers you found that have shown you that learning is about learning and less so about meeting grade or an AP exam?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Let me see. I mean, like, the teachers that have shown me how learning have given me this quality to like be intellectually curious. I get like just I think like honestly the majority of my teachers, but like if I had to like name like a few off the top of my head, like I would say Miss Grant, Miss Lebowitz, Mr. Leaf, Mrs. O'Mara was another one. Like Miss Dunbar. There are like a lot of teachers who I feel like make me want to learn and make every class like this incredible experience where you're learning and finding connections. And well, like I remember with Mr. Leaf's math class last year, I was in pre-calc with him, and I had never had a math teacher before like kind of show me how math can be about collaboration and exploration, and how like he would like help us, of course, but he would have us kind of like figure out the concepts on our own in groups and stuff. And I think that's I think that's such a cool idea that math can be used that way, and like to see it for like concepts as opposed to just like reading it out of a textbook. And I think like those kinds of teachers who show students that it's more than just memorization, that it's that make it like fun at every single day to come to class. I think that is something that's really helped me learn to love learning, to like want to work hard, to really just imbibe all this information, I guess. I think like just those kinds of teachers who just do that sort of thing, I guess.
Were there any conversations you've had with any of the teachers you've listed, or ones that you haven't, that you think have shown you what makes learning in their class so special, or what makes, I guess, the honor code or any other facets of Pingry come alive to you?
I think one thing, I mean, first off, like when like teachers kind of bring their all to every like class, I don't think I've had any specific or actually, I mean, like with Miss Grant, there have been like some times of the year where I've kind of stayed after class and I just kind of talked to her about the literature we're reading right now, and like just because like I'm just kind of interested in this stuff, and I think it's really interesting to kind of stay and discuss about that. And she was showing me like different connections you could see, or then like also with AP Euro this year with Miss Dunbar, I think it's like so cool because like especially with AP Euro, you can find so many references to like this history in the real world. I tell her about them. Like we were both actually like we both saw Beauty and the Beast, and I went to her and talked to her, and I was like, this is like inaccurate, and she was like, I was thinking the same thing and stuff. And it was like great at being able to like have that where like I'm learning for the sake of learning, and it's coming into play in the real world, and it's just the coolest thing. It's like when you study a foreign language and you're in like a foreign country and you hear them like say something and you're like, I know what they're saying. Like it's such a cool connection to have. I think that sort of thing just really fuels my love of learning, I guess.
How was the latest Beauty and the Beast movie?
It was good in parts. It was kind of a meme in other parts for me personally. Did you see it?
I have not. I've seen trailers and bits and pieces.
There were parts where I was like, wow, this is good. And there were other parts where I was like, wow, this is really long also. And also like, don't know if that was necessary. It was really strange in parts, but I thought overall pretty solid movie, pretty solid movie, so yeah.
It's cool. Did Lumiere sound like he had a New Orleans accent, or was that just me?
I'm trying to remember if he did. Maybe a bit. Okay. But it was overall pretty solid, like 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that's good. Do you ever feel that the honor code falls short, or do you think, or that the Pingry community doesn't always meet the expectations we try and set ourselves up for?
I think one thing with the honor code that I wish it kind of addressed, or I don't believe it addresses, is that like I think that there can be kind of more moral gray areas than sometimes like it takes into account. Like I mean, just like hypothetical situations, like if like someone literally needs this grade, otherwise they're gonna get like they need like a good grade, like, and some things happen and they like weren't able to study and the teacher's being super unfair about it. Like, is it okay to help give them your notes and help them study or something like that, even though they didn't do them on their own, or like that sort of thing? I think that sort of thing can kind of be not. I think there's just kind of some moral gray areas, or also like how I think it's like emphasized by teachers, like you shouldn't use extra sites to help you like go through the information. And I understand like using Spark Notes instead of reading. I think that's like a stupid idea because like for me I'm like I need to read just in general in order to even remember this information. But I think that some of those resources can be used to review if you need to, as opposed to like going back through the entire book and looking for one quote. You can look up and see what section of the book that's in, and then be like, okay, this is where it is. I'll find it like that. Like I think that sometimes it is a bit strict and assumes that all actions done with certain things can kind of be negative and like malicious, when that is not the case at all. And I think that is something that I wish kind of more addressed sometimes. So yeah.
If you were to revise the honor code, in addition to what you've just mentioned, is there anything else you think you'd want to change, maybe in the text, or if there's a different attitude or spirit that you'd like to include?
I think I think the honor code, yeah, what I just mentioned is something that I think is important they add in. I think that there should just be, in general, with any kind of honor code of any place, there should be an emphasis on character over like anything else. I think that's where, I think that's where the emphasis should be, and that's what I would want to make sure it includes, to once again like emphasize character and how that is important above all else. Like I've heard a few people complain this year, and this isn't like the honor code per se, but like I know that this is the Pingry motto is like excellence and honor, and I've heard a few people complain actually this last year about how they wish it was the other way around because it makes it sound like excellence above honor, I guess. And I think that with any honor code, you just kind of should make sure that it's that like character and honor are more important than just being excellent for the sake of being excellent, I guess.
Yeah. So 2 years ago, back in our town in Warren, there was a shooting, and I believe one of your teachers passed away in that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also raised a Kickstarter for her son.
Yes.
College.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. She was like a helper teacher, a kindergarten aide, that was what she was. And I first off, I just in general saw her around school very often because I went to Central for 5 or 6 years. I remember I was in kindergarten and I remember like, just like, I was like drawing or doing some activity or something like that, yeah. And I remember telling her about how I wanted to like be president one day. Those were like the times when I wanted to be like a rock star and a president and an author, like a million different things at once. And I just remember her immediate response being like, well, I'll be the first one to vote for you. And I remember just like, she had lost her arm like years earlier in a car crash, I think when her son was young. And she was kind of missing one of her arms. Yet despite that, she never let that get in the way of really being this incredible person. Like she was always, I mean, like that's what she taught me, that like you can do what you want, no matter what your disability, you can overcome that sort of thing. I thought that was incredible. But yeah, when I heard that she had been unfortunately killed, I kind of did some reflection on what she meant to me in my life. And when I heard about her son, I immediately I wanted to know if there were some way I could help, I guess. And yeah, what I ended up doing was I set up a GoFundMe, and I kind of told my story on there. I asked for before doing GoFundMe, what I ended up doing was I had the idea for the GoFundMe. I went to the school to talk to a teacher who actually knew the family about it, and she gave me kind of like the okay to kind of like set it up, and then she'll like let the family know about it. And yeah, I set it up because at a time like this, the family shouldn't be concerned with how her son is going to continue college. Mm-hmm. Like that's should be the last thing on their mind, right then. They're going through so much already, and I wanted to take that stress away. So yeah, I set up the GoFundMe page. I shared it on the Facebook Warren Township Community Forum and stuff, and and it was really incredible how the community really rallied together in that. They were really, I mean, and I was posting it through that. I got other people post on onto various community forums, and also emailed like alumni know from the current school. They go to like alumni associations in the area about this, and it was. I put my story down there about how like I remember in kindergarten she said that to me about being president, and I was like, please like feel free to leave any comments below about stories you may have had with her to help like the family get through this hard time. And a lot of people responded with that with stories, and I ended up going to the wake, and I met her family, and I remember talking to her sister, and she's talking about how those stories were helping her so much. Like her daughter at night would just read to her the stories, and she told me like when she felt like the world was like dark and evil, there, like I showed her that there was some light left in the world, that, and it was, what I was really just trying to do, I just wanted to help in any way that I could, and that was what I ended up doing, and it was, I was happy that I could at least provide some sort of something to help them at least cope with this loss, I guess.
Well, it's incredible of you to do that.
Thank you.
Have you kept in contact with family?
Actually, I have not really ever since. I talked with her sister on the phone like a few weeks after it happened. That was the last time I really talked with them. I know I know like her son wanted to meet me wants to meet me at some point, but he's still trying to at least I knew like a bit ago he was still going through like all this stuff, and it's like and we were just gonna wait till like a time when like they have this stuff like done, and he's like in a place where he's okay doing that. So yeah.
What's it like working at Humans of Pingry, and what do you find most enjoyable about it?
First off, I think it's incredible working on it. I'm so shocked, but also by the success of it. It's been crazy, but I think just it's something that's forced me to step outside of my comfort zone and talk to people that I've never really talked to, I guess. Yeah. And I think my favorite part about doing it is really just, besides meeting new people, I think what I aim to do with the page is tell the stories of the community that typically go unheard of, I guess. I found that that's always what I think is the most powerful thing, is when you learn something about someone that you didn't know about. And I remember, I think I first noticed this with Mr. Winston's Humans of Pingry post, where he talked about what got him started in music, and it was about his grandparents, I believe. He had this like tape recorder, and he would sing with them and stuff, and it was like, I think that's the sort of stuff people love to hear about when they want to hear about like where this person came from, like, and I feel like it actually really humanizes people in that way, and I think that that's something that's really cool about it, is just giving a glimpse into each person's life and not letting them just be these cardboard cutouts we pass every day in the hallway.
So Humans of Pingry was based off Humans of New York, which gained meteoric rise about a couple of years ago. Are there any favorite stories you've had from Humans of New York or other similar pages?
Oh, I'm trying. I mean, like I love like so many of them. I'm trying to think if there's like any one. I remember there was, I believe, like I remember this is like 2 years ago, I believe. There was like a middle school principal on there talking about her school, and I think they were having issues with funding, and he ended up like going through and interviewing a lot of people at the school, and they ended up raising like a ton of money for that school and stuff, which I thought was really cool and showed like the power of social media, and like, and I think it's just, I think honestly just like I actually have, like, because my ISP is kind of working on Humans of Pingry stuff, and I am writing kind of like a book-ish thing, like similar to the Humans of New York book, and I've been kind of going through that for inspiration and like looking at the photography, and I think it's just like looking at all this stuff together, like showing all the different aspects of the people we pass every day, like in the city. Like, it's absolutely incredible. It's showing like people's aspirations, their struggles, their everything that they're going through in their life. They're just being raw and vulnerable, and I think that's so powerful, I guess, about the page. So I don't know if there's like one specific story, but I think it's just honestly saying like how much it humanizes people who live in the city, I guess.
Where do you see Humans of Pingry going? Are there things you want to change or update?
First off, I'm trying to figure out like leadership for next year and all that great stuff. I think first off, one thing that I want to, I think I may try to do this for my SP is I want to make the Instagram more active because it's been very on and off. It randomly goes up sometimes, and then isn't really typically, and that's because like it's already enough to get like kind of like one person, like get like 2 or 3 posts in a week when I have the time to do that. But like it's a whole other thing to do to get like another one for the Instagram. So I would like to work on that. I also want to, I want to figure out leadership and figure out like who's going to be doing what next year because I want to make sure that the page doesn't like die without me here, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like what I'm kind of hoping. I think I'm just the page has like evolved over time. And first off, like the photos I have taken, like I was going back through some of my earlier photos. I was like, these are not my best, but okay. I was like, I think it's like evolved in that way. I think it's also evolved in what I've tried to get, how the page, how I want to make sure I'm getting like genuine, once again, like stories or responses from people, I guess. And I think that's something that I've changed about like from the very beginning, and I've changed like since like I started the page, and now that's the kind of direction I'm trying to move in, and I'm trying to get other people to move in if they're going to be a part of the page.
In the spirit of Humans of New York, is there a story or a secret or a fun fact that we may not know that you'd like to tell us?
About Humans of Pingry, or just like the whole
About
process?
The process, anything.
Mm-hmm. This is a good question. I'm trying to think if there's like really anything.
Worry about you. Anything works.
No, yeah, I gotcha. Well, I don't know if there's anything specific about Humans of Pingry. I'd say one thing is just first off, one thing about it, the idea for Humans of Pingry came to me in a Bridgewater Gap store. That's a fun fact about it. That's where it was the spring of my freshman year. And it like suddenly came to me like an epiphany, and I was like, wow, I don't know. I was like, wow, I do not know enough people in my school. Like I just pass these people in the hallway. I don't know what's going on with them. So I kind of decided that this would, because photography has always kind of been a passion of mine, and I decided like, okay, this is a way for me to kind of incorporate photography into my school life as well, because I couldn't take photography classes. Right. And yeah, that was kind of the start of it, and it was like very surprisingly very easy to set up. It like only took me one free period one day, and I just had it set up, and it just started like that. And I think that's something not most people know about it. I would think if I weren't running the page that it would be very hard to like figure all that stuff out, but it really wasn't at all. That's something about it, I guess. So yeah.
Did you ever end up buying anything at that gap?
No, I don't think I did. I think any kind of idea just kind of consumed me. I was there with my like mom or something. I think she was like looking at some stuff as well.
Yeah.
So like she probably bought something, but yeah.
So moving into your future, I've heard that you have committed to the University of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is there anything in the community that you look forward to that you hope carries over from Pingry?
I mean, like, I know we were talking about this, but like the level of trust I feel like Pingry has, that would be incredible if I see that there. I don't know. I likely will. I like kind of accepted that I probably won't, but I would love to have that, and I hope to have a vibrant community, I guess, whether that's like in the theater or like in just classes in general and stuff. That's one thing. That's like, those are some things I'm really hoping to carry over from Pingry. Like this emphasis on character and not just trying to get ahead and like being cutthroat and competitive. So yeah.
How do you think the honor code and your experiences as Pingry will carry over through college or maybe later in life, and how they may have changed your path over the years?
I think that they have just really taught me how I need to have like good character, and how even when you're struggling, it's better to do that, and you can be more proud, I guess, or prouder of what you do by having a good character and working hard, as opposed to just like cheating and getting ahead, I guess. And I think that's something that the Pingry Honor Code has taught me, that it's like better to do that kind of thing. How much better it feels, and how it's better for just the overall community, I guess.
Well, Connor, thank you for speaking with me.
Thank you.
Are there any last things you'd like to tell us? It could be about anything, really.
I don't really know. I'll say that I think Pingry is a really special place, I guess. I think it's really incredible, once again, how open this community is, and this is by far the most open community I've ever been a part of. I've been part of 4 or 5 other schools. This is by far the most open, and I think just once again, that's such an incredible thing. So yeah, I think that's something that I'm going to try to bring with me to wherever I go next, I guess.
Well, this has been Connor Beard, class of 2017, and future University of Pennsylvania class of 2021. Connor, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sean.